After a strong victory for the Raw brand in the second week of the brand extension era, which saw Raw outdrawing SmackDown by an over 800,000 viewers margin in one of the largest gaps between the shows since Raw's move to TNN in September 2000, entering the third week with each brand winning one on the road and on television, with JR on the latest Ross report noting that the brand's rivalry is heating up behind the scenes, with more wrestlers than usual from both shows asking him about the crowd attendance and TV ratings as compared with the competition, with Raw coming 6 days from the first joint pay-per-view of the new era with Backlash on Sunday, seeing Ric Flair coming out for the response after taking another stunner from Austin to close the show last Monday, saying that he recognizes that Austin is anti-authority but he is not Vince McMahon and have no desire to go to war with him as they have a lot in common as full-time wrestlers on the road unlike McMahon. Bringing out Austin for the response, with Flair in another warning to Austin fining him $5,000, with Austin telling Flair that he got the stunner for interfering in his match against Scott Hall last Monday as he didn't need his help. And after the big Raw viewership of last week, the Raw house shows over the weekend headlined by Austin vs. Taker going up against the SmackDown events headlined by Triple H vs. Jericho, remained neck and neck, with both ending up drawing around 12 to 14,000 people between Friday to Sunday, with one of the big talking points coming out of the Raw shows being that for the second week in a row the unusual main event results saw heel Taker going over Austin, pinning Austin 3 nights in a row after a chair shot to the head followed by Austin laying him out with a stunner post-match, bringing up questions on if the company are getting Austin back for walking out with the traditional result of house shows going back decades being the babyface almost always going over in a non-title match, with Taker interrupting the Flair-Austin segment telling Austin to get his focus on their match on Sunday while recapping their history with both working countless pay-per-views against each other over the past 5 years, ending up with Flair making himself the special referee in the match set to go second from the top on the Backlash card as the top match from the Raw brand, with the 21-minute segment which also saw Scott Hall and X-Pac coming after Flair for interfering in Hall's match last Monday, followed by Bradshaw running in for the brawl to set up the 3-on-2 handicap match for the main event tonight, spiking over 1 million viewers after already opening stronger than usual in the first quarter to peak the broadcast already at 9:25 p.m. with a 5.1 rating, resulting in one of the most unusual viewing patterns on Raw in years, with the show peaking with over 6.7 million viewers 20 minutes in instead of the usual gradual build-up throughout before peaking in the second hour at one of the top of the hour quarter. With the Backlash pay-per-view set to be the first pay-per-view of the brand extension era on Sunday, perhaps an even bigger event for the long-term future of the industry is set to take place 2 days earlier, with the biggest movie opening for a wrestler in history, with the Scorpion King set to debut on Friday, with Rock continuing the unprecedented media tour on the lead-up to the opening, with him among interviews on all major talk shows and publications, hosting SNL for the second time 2 days ago in another promotional vehicle for the movie, set for a major premiere in LA this Wednesday, with early reviews across the board praising Rock's performance, with him having major offers lined up for the next year, with him already signed for another movie with Universal Studios starting to shoot in the fall, with Rock in an interview on The Stern Show last Friday confirming that Vince McMahon will be credited as an executive producer in the Scorpion King movie due to him owning the name The Rock, in addition to the WWF set to get a major cut from the movie studios for Rock's role while under contract with the company, with Vince, who is set to attend the premiere on Wednesday while in Australia promoting the upcoming SmackDown event in August, doing several media interviews on the current state of the company, saying that after shaking things up with the Attitude rebranding campaign that they now have to scale back with more limitations on the product, answering several WCW-related questions after the massive success the WCW tour was in the country in October 2000, saying that Vince Russo's ego got the better of him after not realizing the great support system in the WWF, while confirming that he had talks with Goldberg and Sting on both signing with the company over the past year, with Raw's top-of-the-hour quarter scene of Van Dam and Spike vs. Eddie and Regal tag match going 6 minutes to hold steady at a 4.8 rating, ending up with Guerrero going over to hype the Van Dam match on Sunday as the Battle of the Frog Splash, while after peaking unusually early in the second quarter, Raw's first hour on the night ended up outdrawing the second by a 6.3 to 6 million viewers margin. With the company making a clear effort to elevate several performers into main event status as one of the main goals of the brand split, one of the top names targeted on the Raw brand was set for a major week to potentially climb up with Bradshaw after doing the run-in for Austin earlier in the night to take out Taker and the nWo, while teaming with him in the main event later tonight in front of an hometown crowd in Texas, is set for perhaps the highest-profile singles match of his career on Sunday against Scott Hall, booked for the pay-per-view, coming with the match originally rumored to be a tag match with Waltman and Kane on each side before Kane ended up injuring his arm while training yesterday in bad timing to be written off television, in a coincidence having the exact same injury as Nash, who he was scheduled to be programmed against before both were taken out with torn biceps for the next several months. Coming with him also set for a major singles push, with him set to undergo surgery to repair it on Tuesday, with Raw next seeing another angle building up a potential future top player, with Brock Lesnar interfering to save Heyman from the Hardys in a Booker and Goldust vs. Hardys tag match. With the company still figuring out the new direction on the way to the first joint pay-per-view with a unique strategy of TV commercials over the past 2 weeks, mainly promoting the Austin vs. Undertaker match during the SmackDown UPN broadcast on Thursdays, while heavily featuring the Hogan vs. Triple H title match during Raw commercials on TNN. Triple H opened Raw's final quarter for an interview with Jim Ross in the final hype promo in front of the Raw audience on cable television for the first ever Hunter vs. Hogan match on Sunday, responding to Hogan laying him out last Thursday in the first shot of the build-up, telling Hogan that he made a big mistake and he's gonna take him out despite the Hulkmania resurgence of popularity. Reacting to the other top match on the pay-per-view with Austin and Taker, saying that it doesn't matter who wins the match as sooner or later he will face both as he's not losing the title, with Raw after sliding for most of the past hour since the early peak, seeing the final quarter hitting a near-show low 4.5 rating with a lengthy commercial break after the Triple H promo, followed by the entrances for the 3-on-2 handicap main event. The Austin and Bradshaw vs. Taker Hall and X-Pac main event kicked off at 10:58 p.m. to go 6 minutes in the overrun, bumping Raw over 600,000 viewers back up to close the show at a 4.9 rating, seeing the major Bradshaw push continuing in the match, with him not only teaming with Austin in the main event but getting the fall to pin X-Pac to win the match, setting up another heat beatdown for the Taker vs. Austin and Hall vs. Bradshaw matches on Sunday, with Hall and Taker laying them out, with Raw overall, despite slightly dropping in total viewers from the near-year high of the past 2 weeks, still remaining strong above the 6.1 million viewers range with its third consecutive 4.8 rating.